Well, let's take a closer look at how the U.S. decision to legalize sports betting could transform the industry. For that insight, I'm joined by Mike Bako in New York. Mike is the sports managing editor at dailynational.com. Welcome back to the show.
Thanks for having me.
So what does putting the decision in the hands of individual states do for the sports betting industry?
I think what it does is it obviously puts it into the light. You were talking earlier in your story about some of these underworld characters and some of the illegal sports betting. $50 to $100 billion of illegal gambling. That's pales in comparison to upwards of $400 million of legitimate gambling. If you look at the idea behind these states opening up betting parlors, having betting at off-track casinos, places like that, you're talking about an increased revenue not only for the leagues, not only for these different venues, but also for the states. And these revenues can be taxed. That's what this is all about, the money. Follow the money.
So then how far do letting this now become legalized, how far does that go to clamping down then on the illegal betting?
I think there'll always be illegal gambling because there's a certain degree of danger that comes with that, a certain degree of ease that comes with it, and old habits die hard. Just because you could gamble and go someplace to gamble, you could gamble online now, you could gamble offshore. That still doesn't stop people from gambling illegally. It's still going to happen, but what I think this ruling will do is open it up to the regular person, the regular fan who may want to gamble on what's the score going to be at halftime? What's the score going to be after halftime? They could bet on the opening kickoff. They could bet on who's going to score first. It opens up a completely new way of watching sports. You could basically gamble not just on the game and who's going to win, but every aspect and every play virtually of the games.
Yeah, I certainly remember growing up in England, there are sports betting shops everywhere. People could bet on whether someone's free kick into the goal was going to come off their right or left foot. But
absolutely.
So what are some of the lessons then that the U.S. can learn from how other countries manage sports betting?
Well, you mentioned in London and England and other countries that have these sports betting parlors. One of the things that these sports betting parlors and organizations, certainly there's going to be government involvement and leagues are going to want to be involved in this, but you could watch out for betting irregularities. So if there's too much betting going on in a specific game, they could look into that and see where these bets are coming from. Could there be something illegal going on? Right now, there's so much underworld money that's being poured into soccer matches and tennis matches. There are wild tennis scandals with players dropping matches because of these underworld elements. All of that now will be in the light. Will that still happen? Will there still be some of these bad figures and players that are coming out? Yes, but there's going to be so much more of a spotlight on it, so much more of a technology advantage for the leagues, for the betting parlors, and for the states and the organizations to pick up on some of these irregularities. That's where it's really going to come from. That's what they really want to do, is put this up into the light.
Now, at first, a lot of these major sporting leagues were really hesitant to embrace this because of the impact on the integrity of the sports themselves. So how do you see this impacting the various sports leagues in the U.S.?
Well, I think right now what they're doing is looking at the bottom line. The NBA, the NFL, and the NHL, all these leagues have arrangements with their players in terms of salaries where they get a percentage of league revenues. Gambling will become a league revenue. So if you're an NBA player, if you're LeBron James and you see your salary capped out at $32 or $33 million, if 2 or 3 years down the line, there may be an influx of $50 to $100 billion of revenue coming in. There's certainly going to be a part of that coming to the NBA. You could see your salary jump up. Everyone has a stake in this, from the team owners to the TV networks. Everything revolves around the money that's coming in and the money that's going to be dispersed to owners, to the tax revenues for the specific states. And certainly the players are seeing this pot of gold at the end because they're going to get a cut of it from their salary as well.
Now, you also have some critics who are concerned about the risks, some of the ethical concerns when you come with giving people even more opportunities to make bets. What would you say are some of the main risks that tend to come up with this issue?
Well, obviously, the quote from the story just before, gambling addiction. It's going to be so much easier now for people that have this affliction to gamble, to go even though it's out in the light, they're going to have so much more access to it, so many more people that have a gambling addiction or can actually develop a gambling addiction, whether that be a younger person, depending on what the specific age limits are going to be. But the reality is that they could form these habits regardless. They could bet illegally. They could go online. They could play poker online. They could bet on video games online and different gaming systems. So, the idea, it's a very simplistic argument to make that this will increase gambling addiction. Unfortunately, you could gamble in virtually any game, any avenue, whether it be online or in an underworld type of scenario. So, that will put it into the spotlight a little bit more, but it's there right now.
All right, thank you so much, Mike Bako there, sports managing editor at dailynational.com.